I cheated on my loving husband and married my affair partner. Now karma has come full circle in a way I never saw coming. I betrayed the man who loved me most in this world. And now, years later, karma didn't come for me with flames or vengeance, but with silence and a kind of pain I never expected. My best friend married my ex-husband. David and I divorced in 2019. At the time, it felt like the right thing to do. He had just found out that I was having an affair. It was early in the pandemic, and we were both under pressure, emotionally, mentally. He discovered I had been seeing someone else behind his back. A local waiter named Caleb. I didn't try to deny it. I didn't cry or beg. I told him I had fallen out of love. I truly believed that at the time. To his credit, David handled it better than I deserved. There were no shouting matches, no legal threats, no scorched earth tactics. We agreed on the terms, signed the papers, and went our separate ways. He moved to a smaller city 2 hours away to pursue his PhD and start fresh. I stayed behind and moved in with Caleb. Eventually he became my husband. David and I had agreed to remain civil. I'd occasionally send a message. On his birthday around the holidays. When I heard through mutual friends that he'd completed his doctorate, I even sent a thoughtful graduation gift. I never heard anything back. Not even a quick thank you. It stung more than I cared to admit. David had always been the type to write thank you notes to baristas and gas station clerks. That he couldn't send me even a single word felt deliberate. I chalked it up to lingering resentment. Maybe I deserved the cold shoulder. Meanwhile, I was swept into my new life with Caleb. He had 3 children from a previous marriage, and we were expecting our own baby. Life was busy, messy, full of adjustments, and complicated. But I kept moving forward, believing I had made the right choice. My best friend Rachel lived in the same city David had relocated to. She was a high-powered attorney and part-time lecturer at the university. We had always had one of those low-maintenance friendships. You know, the kind where you could go months without speaking and pick up like no time had passed. So, when our conversations started to taper off, I didn't worry too much. The last message I got from her was in late 2021. She mentioned being stressed with work, maybe dating someone new. That was typical for her. She tended to disappear into her relationships. When Caleb and I visited David's city last summer, I tried to get in touch with Rachel. I called her a couple of times, even left voicemails hoping to meet for coffee. Nothing. I figured she was just busy, or wrapped up in another romantic whirlwind. Fast forward to October. I went back to that city alone for a Halloween party hosted by an old college friend. I hadn't been out in ages and was looking forward to letting loose. That's where I saw her, Rachel, dressed as Cleopatra, gold cuffs and all, sipping wine near the bar. When I walked over, she looked startled. Her hug was limp. Her smile barely flickered. "Hey," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "I tried calling you over the summer." "Yeah," she replied, eyes darting away. "I was on my honeymoon that week. Sorry I didn't get back to you." Froze. "Honeymoon? You got married?" She nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. "To who? You never even told me you were dating someone." That's when she dropped the bomb. "David," she said. My stomach dropped. The room spun. My ears rang. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. For a moment, I just stared at her, mouth open, trying to make sense of it. What?" I started. But she cut me off. "You don't get to be mad," she said coldly. "You broke his heart. We didn't even start talking until 2 years after your divorce. You chose some guy who served you coffee over a man who loved you with everything he had." I was too stunned to speak. I spent the rest of the night in a daze, drinking just to dull the ache. I couldn't believe it. My best friend had married the man I once thought I'd spend forever with. The man I betrayed. And she hadn't even told me. When I got home, everything felt different. I couldn't look at Caleb the same way. I was withdrawn, cold, snappy with the kids. I started digging through old photos of me and David. Our wedding, vacations, lazy Sundays. The way he'd pull me close after work. The way he listened. Really listened. I hadn't realized how much I missed that until I saw it reflected in someone else's arms. After a couple of weeks, Caleb confronted me. He accused me of cheating again. I broke down and told him everything. About Rachel, about David, about the wedding, and how it felt like someone had carved a hole in my chest. "You're acting like this is some big betrayal," he scoffed. "It's been public for a while. Figured you knew. It's all over social media." That hit me like a slap. "You knew." "Yes. You didn't want to see it," he said flatly. "You're not over him." I denied it. I tried to deny it. But my voice trembled, and Caleb knew. We argued all night. I told him he should have warned me. That he let me spiral when I kept asking why Rachel never called back. He told me I didn't want the truth. He told me, "You're grieving like someone died." And maybe he was right. Maybe a part of me had died. A part I'd buried under years of pretending I didn't care. That I hadn't made the biggest mistake of my life. The fight turned cruel. I said things I regret. Told him he didn't understand friendship because he didn't have any real ones. It was low and unfair, but it came from a place of deep, bitter hurt. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about David. Not the man I divorced, but the man I loved. The man I let go. I remembered the feel of his arms, the smell of his cologne, the quiet way he forgave me even as I tore him apart. And now, someone else had picked up the pieces. My best friend had stepped into the life I threw away. Rachel had become part of his world. The world I abandoned. The world I no longer had a key to. I used to think karma would come with fireworks or judgment. But now I think it looks more like this. Silence. Being forgotten by the people you can't stop remembering. I wanted closure. Confrontation. An explanation. But what I got instead was the realization that some doors, once closed, stay that way. That sometimes the greatest punishment is knowing what you gave up, and that it's never coming back.